It's a brand new year, and if you've been to an airport lately, you've probably noticed that the old routine of just taking off your shoes and emptying your water bottle has changed. It's 2026, and the digital world has officially collided with physical security. You might think your biggest travel headache is going to be a long line at the terminal or a delayed flight, but there is a new reality we all have to face. Your smartphone is now part of your luggage, and it's being treated as such. Specifically for seniors, who often travel with devices filled with years of family photos, banking info, and maybe a few apps they don't quite remember downloading, the stakes have never been higher. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that many travelers are whispering about, but few are prepared for: why the TSA and border agents are increasingly interested in what's on your home screen. We've identified 5 specific types of apps that are causing major headaches for older travelers, leading to secondary screenings, uncomfortable questions, and in some cases, even missed flights. If you want to make sure your next trip is as smooth as possible, you're going to want to stick around for this entire video. Before we get into the list, do me a quick favor. If you value your privacy and want to stay updated on the latest travel rules for 2026, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep these warnings coming to the people who need them most. The landscape of travel has shifted dramatically over the last year. With the full implementation of Real ID and the rise of biometric, touchless ID at major hubs like Atlanta, LAX, and Chicago, the government's ability to cross-reference our digital identities has reached a whole new level. While the TSA's primary mission is still finding physical threats like explosives, the lines between security and data vetting are blurring. We're seeing more and more reports of seniors being pulled aside, not because they had a pocket knife in their carry-on, but because something on their device triggered a red flag. For many of us, our phones are our lifelines. They hold our boarding passes, our medication schedules, and our ways to stay in touch with our kids and grandkids. But to a security agent, an app you think is harmless might look like a tool for something much more suspicious. It's not about being a criminal. It's about avoiding the appearance of one. Agents are trained to look for anomalies, and if your phone contains apps that are commonly associated with fraud, illegal substances, or encrypted communication, you might find yourself in a small room answering questions instead of sitting in the lounge with a coffee. You might be wondering, is this even legal? Can they really look through my phone? It's a bit of a gray area that has become even more complicated in 2026. While the Fourth Amendment generally protects us from unreasonable searches, there is a long-standing border search exception. This means that at any port of entry, which includes international terminals at major U.S. airports, Customs and Border Protection, CBP, has incredibly broad authority to search electronic devices without a warrant. Even if you're a U.S. citizen flying domestically, the TSA can refer you to additional screening if they swab your phone and find chemical residues, or if they notice something suspicious during the standard X-ray process. Once you're in that secondary screening area, the rules change. It's much better to sanitize your device before you even leave for the airport than to try and argue constitutional law with an agent while your plane is boarding at gate B12. The first app on our list is one that catches people off guard because in many parts of the country, it feels perfectly normal to have. We're talking about cannabis and marijuana-related apps. Whether it's a dispensary loyalty app like Leafly or Weed Maps, or even just a lifestyle app that helps you track your medicinal usage, these are major red flags at the airport. Here is the problem. Even though marijuana is legal for recreational or medicinal use in the vast majority of U.S. states, as of 2026, the TSA is a federal agency. Under federal law, marijuana is still a Schedule I controlled substance. When an agent sees an app dedicated to finding dispensaries or tracking strains, their first thought isn't, "Oh, this person has back pain." It's, "Does this person have illegal substances in their bag?" It gives them reasonable suspicion to conduct a much more thorough search of your physical belongings. We've seen cases where a simple app icon led to a 2-hour search of a carry-on, looking for every last crumb of a gummy or a vape pen. Even if you aren't carrying anything, the delay alone can ruin your trip. If you use these apps for your health or wellness at home, that's great, but delete them before you head to the airport. You can always re-download them when you reach your destination. The second category of apps that TSA and border agents are keeping a close eye on are remote desktop or remote support apps. Think of names like AnyDesk, TeamViewer, or even certain versions of Zoom that allow for remote control. Now, I know what you're thinking. My son put that on there so he could help me fix my email from 3 states away. To you, it's a helpful tool for tech support. To a security agent in 2026, it is the primary tool used by international scam syndicates. We are currently in the middle of a fraud epidemic targeting seniors, and many of these scams involve criminals remotely accessing a victim's phone to drain bank accounts or steal identity data. When an agent sees a remote access app on a senior's phone, they might suspect that the traveler is either a victim of an active mule scam, where they are unknowingly carrying illicit goods or money for someone else, or that the device itself is compromised and could be used to interfere with airport digital systems. It sounds extreme, but security protocols are designed to be cautious. If you have any app that allows someone else to see or control your screen, delete it before you fly. If you need tech help, wait until you're back on your home Wi-Fi to reinstall it. It's important to remember that these agents aren't necessarily looking to get you. They are working within a system that is increasingly automated and driven by risk assessment algorithms. In 2026, the TSA has integrated more AI-driven screening that can flag unusual digital profiles. This is why being proactive is your best defense. We're going to cover 3 more apps in the next part of this video that are even more common and even more likely to get you flagged if you aren't careful. We'll also talk about the specific lockdown mode that every senior should know how to use before they step into the security line. This isn't about living in fear. It's about being a savvy, prepared traveler who knows how to navigate the modern world. Before we move on to the next section, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been asked to unlock your phone at the airport? Or have you noticed the security lines getting a bit more high-tech lately? Drop a comment below and let's get a conversation going. Your experiences help everyone else in this community stay informed and safe. Moving right along, let's talk about the third type of app that is triggering extra scrutiny in 2026: gambling and sports betting apps. Now that sports betting is legal in over 38 states, it's common to see apps like DraftKings, FanDuel, or BetMGM on just about everyone's phone. For many seniors, a little wager on the Sunday game is just a bit of harmless fun. However, from a security standpoint, these apps can be a major red flag for financial irregularities. When you're at an airport, agents are trained to look for signs of money laundering or the illegal transport of large sums of cash. If an agent sees an active betting app with a high balance or frequent large transactions, it can lead to questions about where that money is going or coming from. Furthermore, if you're traveling with more than $10,000 in cash, which some seniors prefer to do for long trips, having a gambling app on your phone practically guarantees a conversation with a CBP officer. They want to ensure you aren't being used as a money mule. It's a classic case of an innocent hobby looking like a suspicious activity under the lens of federal security. To avoid the headache, it's best to log out and remove these apps from your home screen until you've reached your hotel. The fourth category is one that might surprise you because it's often marketed as a way to increase your safety. Encrypted messaging apps like Signal, Telegram, and even WhatsApp. We live in an era where we are told to protect our privacy, and these apps do exactly that by encrypting your conversations. But here is the catch-22 of 2026 travel security. While privacy is your right, obvious privacy measures can sometimes look like you have something to hide. If an agent sees Signal, or Telegram, apps famous for disappearing messages, their training tells them to wonder why you need that level of secrecy. Are you communicating with someone you shouldn't be? Are you moving sensitive data? This is especially true if you are traveling internationally to countries that the U.S. government monitors closely. We've heard stories of travelers being asked to open these apps and show their contact lists. If you have secret chats or hidden folders within these apps, it can turn a 5-minute screening into a 3-hour interrogation. If you use these to talk to your family, that's perfectly fine, but consider moving those conversations back to standard or iMessage for the duration of your travel day. This brings us to a very important piece of con for 2026. You've probably heard about the new TSA Confirm ID system that just rolled out. As of February 1st, 2026, if you don't have a real ID or a valid passport, you now have to pay a $45 fee to use a facial recognition verification system just to get to your gate. This new layer of digital identity check means the TSA is more connected to your digital profile than ever before. When you opt into these biometric systems, you are essentially giving them a digital handshake. If your digital profile, including the apps on your phone, doesn't match the low-risk traveler image they have of you, the system is more likely to flag you for a manual check. This is why keeping your phone clean is no longer just about privacy, it's about efficiency. You don't want to pay $45 for a fast check only to be slowed down because your phone looks like a hacker's toolkit. Speaking of hacker toolkits, the fifth and final app type you should delete is anything related to network scanning or advanced privacy, including certain VPNs and Wi-Fi analyzers. For the tech-savvy senior, a VPN is a great way to stay safe on public Wi-Fi. But at the airport, a VPN can be seen as a way to spoof your location or bypass security protocols. Some older, free VPN apps are also notorious for being bloatware that contains tracking code, which can trigger security software used by the TSA. Similarly, if you have apps that analyze Wi-Fi signals or find open ports, you are going to look like a security threat. To an agent, those aren't tools for a better connection. They are tools for probing the airport's secure networks. If you must use a VPN, make sure it's a reputable, paid service and keep it turned off and ideally hidden in a folder while you're passing through the checkpoint. I want to take a quick second here to remind you that if you're finding this information helpful, please share this video with your friends or your travel groups. Information is power, and the more we know about these quiet changes in 2026, the better we can protect ourselves and our travel plans. It only takes a second to hit that share button, and it could save someone you know from a really stressful day at the airport. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I've traveled for 40 years and nobody has ever asked to see my phone. And for 99% of people, that remains true. But that 1% is where the nightmare stories come from. In 2026, the goal of airport security has shifted toward predictive screening. They are looking for the needle in the haystack, and they use digital markers to find it. If you happen to have a red flag app, a weird travel history, and you're traveling on a one-way ticket, you've just checked 3 boxes that make you a prime candidate for a phone search. It's not about being guilty. It's about not wanting to be the person the algorithm picks out today. So, how do you actually protect yourself without feeling like you're being treated like a criminal? Let's talk about the digital cleanse checklist, the things you should do to your phone the night before you fly. We're also going to reveal the lockdown mode secret that most seniors don't know exists, which can legally protect your data if you are ever asked to hand over your device. Plus, I'll tell you exactly what to say and what not to say if an agent asks to see your home screen. You don't want to miss these final tips because they are the difference between a smooth takeoff and a long day in a windowless room. Ready to see how to lock down your privacy for good? The truth is, even if you're the most law-abiding citizen in the world, the goal at the airport is to be invisible. You want to glide through that line, get your bins back, and head to your gate without a second glance from anyone in a uniform. To do that, I recommend a digital cleanse the night before you head to the airport. This isn't about hiding secrets. It's about presenting a clean profile to the security systems that are now more automated than ever. First on your checklist, the deletion process. Go through your phone and remove those 5 categories we discussed, but don't just hit delete on the home screen. On most modern phones, there is a recently deleted folder for apps and photos and a cache that keeps data tucked away in the background. Make sure you clear those out. If you're worried about losing your data, simply back your phone up to the cloud at home, then log out of your cloud accounts on the device. Remember, in 2026, CBP policy generally limits agents to searching data resident on the device. If you're logged out and the device is in airplane mode, which is standard procedure for a phone search, they aren't supposed to go digging into your iCloud or Google Drive. By logging out, you're putting a digital deadbolt on your most private information. Second, let's talk about a powerful tool that every senior needs to know: lockdown mode. If you have an iPhone, this is built right into your settings under Privacy and Security. On Android, it's often called Lockdown and can be added to your power button menu. When you enable this before you step into the security line, it does something very important. It immediately disables all biometric unlocking. That means Face ID and fingerprint scanners are turned off, and the phone requires your passcode to open. Why does this matter? Because while an agent might be able to hold a phone up to your face or guide your finger to a sensor, they cannot legally compel you to provide a numeric passcode without much higher levels of legal authorization. It's a simple safety switch that gives you back control of your device in a high-pressure situation. Third, you need to know what to say if you are pulled into secondary screening. In 2026, the TSA has a very specific mandate. They are looking for threats to aviation safety. If an agent asks you to power on your phone, you should comply. They want to see that it's a working electronic device and not a hollowed-out shell containing something dangerous. However, if they start scrolling through your photos or asking to see your messages, that is a different story. Politely but firmly stating, "I am happy to show you that the device powers on, but I do not consent to a search of my personal files," is your right. While border agents at international arrivals have more leeway, the TSA agents at domestic checkpoints are generally not authorized to go on fishing expeditions through your private life. Knowing the difference between proving the phone works and giving up your privacy is key. As we wrap this up, remember that the travel landscape of 2026 is all about data. With the new TSA Confirm ID system and the $45 fee for those without real ID, the government is incentivizing us to be digital-first travelers. But being a digital traveler doesn't mean you have to be an open book. By taking 10 minutes the night before your flight to prune your apps, log out of your bank, and enable your phone's security features, you are taking the stress out of the equation. You've worked hard for your retirement and your ability to travel. Don't let a red flag app or a misunderstanding at a checkpoint take that away from you. I really hope this video helps you feel more prepared for your next trip. If you found these tips valuable, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps our community grow and ensures that more seniors see these important warnings. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. We're constantly monitoring the latest TSA and travel updates for 2026, and I want to make sure you're the first to know when the rules change again. Safe travels, keep your data secure, and I will see you in the next video.